Hi guys, and welcome back to Paolo's channel. And today I would like to make a quite quick review about a very new items I just received today, September 2021. I think is have been released since a couple of months, I think. And it is the Porsche 917/10 in 124 scale, produced by mezzo-mix model. Mezzo-mix model is a German guy, Christian, incredibly skilled modeler, a real modeler. I mean, not one of the maker and charlatans we know online that just talk about stuff they plan to do and they would like to do and they don't have the ability. Instead, Christian absolutely have all the abilities to do models, and he is a very great and skilled German modeler. So he produced these items, and I think it's the first item he makes in 124 scale, because he's used to work in much bigger scale. He's quite famous for his 112 full models. You know, you can find his articles for sale online on eBay. Just searching for mezzo-mix models racing kit, and you will find a lot of very interesting subjects. You know, I remember BMW M330. I remember the Porsche 956 Kurzheck that also I bought in 112 scale. I remember the Porsche 935 K3 and BMW M1. So many items exactly of the same era that also I like, and also I love to have in my collection. You know, just for me, I have little issues with the dimensions of the model, so I have to remain in something that is a little smaller for my space, for my showcases and so on. So in 112 scale, I just decided to collect very few models, because I don't have the space where to host them and where to show them when they are complete. But anyway, they are anyway extremely interesting, and they also give you the opportunity to have to buy them without buying the bigger brother producer, for example, from by Model Factory. Here in 112 they are completely different models, because they are usually full detail kits and completely detailed inside. Instead, mezzo-mix models are usually mostly curbside models, so you just can concentrate yourself over the shape and the proportion of the model, you know, without having so many inner details of the underskin of the cars, you know. So this Porsche is extremely interesting, because it was one of the very mighty and powerful Porsche 917 in one of its middle, if not the last development. And the 91710, it was quite different from the ordinary 917. You see, the body shape is completely different. It's basically another car. You know, it's very similar under many point of view to the Alfa Romeo 33 TT of the late 70s. You know, so the kind of car is exactly in the same line. So the schema, the dimension, the fact of being a spider car, not a closed prototype, not a closed Can-Am. You know, this was a car that raced a lot in Europe, raced in America, was extremely famous, and had a lot of interesting liveries during the racing career. You know, so about the model, what can we say? This is extremely interesting in my opinion, because Mezzo-Mix produced this model using exclusively 3D printing. You know, so this is not an ordinary racing kit like the one that also I produce, where you have a master, an original master made sometimes in 3D, made sometimes converting plastic, or sometimes scratch building from nothing, from zero, you know, using PVC or other materials. This is completely printed in 3D. It's the stuff that every modeler now dream to be able to produce by his own, but I suspect you need a quite impressive skill to do it, because it's absolutely not so easy, and it's very easy to make mistakes and to lose the proportion also in a quite smaller scale like this 124 is. What to say, the overall detail is absolutely good, absolutely fine. In my opinion, sometimes can be also too much fine, because The resin used by modern printers is extremely fragile, so already my box arrived, this not because of the fault of Christian, but because of the fault of the postal system here in Sweden, arrived crashed, and they had both the rear fin, this and this one completely broken. The luck is that this material is like glass, so when you break it, it's absolutely easy to fix because the breaking line is so sharp and so defined that it's absolutely easy with a little drop of super glue to fix it. And I think that is no way to see now where the breaking point is actually, because it's completely done. But that part was broken in two pieces, you know, not only one but two pieces, the both the rear fin of the model. What to say, the model that I using now for this video is partially assembled. Of course, it's just temporary stuff, and the rear part and the inner details is just the basic stuff that you can see from the cockpit. So mezzo-mix made a very nice detail, as you can see from the dashboard, completely holed, probably using also the frame that usually is created by the printer. So it's very nice to see the internal frame, despite you will see very few of it. And the stuff that completely shocked me was the quality of the front fence, you know. If you have seen the videos I just made about the Alpha 33 made by Paulo Sousa, and later on right now from DDP models, you remember the issue around the front vents. They were quite complicated to reproduce. Instead, Paolo had to make them two times, in the first time in resin and the second time using a photo etched set with the help of Italian modelers. But in this model, indeed, they are completely printed, as you can see from these images, and I didn't have to do anything, you know. They either need to be cleaned, so it was absolutely crisp and perfect in detail, you know. Remember that this side of the vents is not only folded, but is also curved in the inner part, so it's absolutely complicated to make them like in the 33. So this kind of detail is, you can absolutely do everything out there. There is modelers incredibly skilled, so it's not a problem of the modeler, but it's a problem of the cast, of the production of these items, you know. All the models I just sanded with sand grip with different grain, you know. This was a P220, so quite aggressive, because in some part of the model, typical of the 3D kit, you have that little waves and the little lines, but it's very thin. I mean, you have to go with your nail over to find it, and it's absolutely easy to flat them away with a little sand grip. So it's a work that you can do. It's nothing more and nothing less than what you can do when you prepare an ordinary model casted in resin. So there is always a little cleaning to do around the parts, you know. And there was in the back Nakaduts, inside this one, there was a little frame still from the printing, surely also inside this part, but it's quite easy to clean them away with a little sharp blade and a little razor, you know. So it's nothing impossible, you know. Inside the kit you will find the main body divided in two parts, so the overall coverage and the under chassis, together with the wheels. Of course, the wheels for this video are just in temporary position, but as you can see, it's separated by the internal rims from the tire, you know. And this is a decision that some modelers don't like. For me personally, it's not so big issue, because once the model is properly painted, also the Alpha 33 had the same way of wheels, so you had the rim and the tire casted in solid, so it was not rubber, you know. There is some modelers that don't like absolutely the solid tires, but for me, once the model is with the purpose to be static over a display, there is no needing to have them in rubber when the rubber is not in a quality like Tamiya and so on. So when you have the problem, I bought, I remember time ago, from a German famous supplier, some Porsche wheels, and the tire was completely gone after a while, it was completely destroyed, and I had to buy spare tires from Tamiya, because the only one that never give up to me was the Tamiya rubber. All the others usually became rotten after some year, or get damaged after using modern products like paints and filters and oils and so on. So with a solid racing wheels, you usually don't have this issue and this problem to fix. In my opinion, the model is absolutely worth the money mezzo-mix is asking for. I think for this level of detail you cannot get anything better than what he did, and the work is awesome because, as said, he have an incredible eye for the proportions and for the details. I think these cars have been made, I'm not so sure if by Model Factory Hero or Airfix, I guess, many billions of years ago, but probably also in a different scale, you know. Anyway, if you want a model of the 91710, this is absolutely a must to have, and you have to buy, I think, right now, because he's making the production in these weeks. So the only issue that you find in the box is that mezzo-mix is extremely artisanal production, so you will not find inside the box the decal sheet. The decal sheet discards many different liveries. You have to search from or tailor-made decals, decal doc if you like them, or Christian is extremely kindly guy, and he will provide you the email and the address of a guy that make all the livery for his car, so you can absolutely feel free to ask him, and he will propose you many different livery. Also, I think Patto's place in New Zealand make decals for this car, you know, because he have the slot body, and so for slot racer he produces some livery for this car. So there is a lot of stuff to search around and so on. The white line you can see here is just because during the cleaning I noticed that probably the file of the rear hatch of the car had a little gap. We are talking of something that you really have to close the eyes and find with your finger several times this way, but it's not so easy to find. It's no problem, because it's not that you just place a little filler and everything will be solved, you know. Also the rear vents down there, they are open, as you can see. There is no engine inside, no engine is provided, but there is just a rear frame that now we can see here, you know. The packaging was also quite well done. That's why I think that my box had the problem to be broken, not because of him, but because of the postal service, because he also provides this little squared carton where you can see there is the rear frame and the sections of the turbo plus the exhaust that will be placed inside, you know. I placed it in this position because I wanted to have them all visible like parts, you know, and I fixed it with a little tape. But it's extremely well done, and also I didn't have to clean anything for this part, so it was ready like you see here. So I think it's enough to place a little shade of primer over, and you see, very fine detail, very fine detail. The gear shaft and the mountings for the rear wing, you know. Of course there is also the rear wing, it's here, and you will find also included in the boxes, of course, the rear wing, sorry, and the main seat. The main seat, you will add, of course, seat belts and buckles from the seat belts, as well as the smallest and finest detail, very fine. You will have the engine vent, the distribution of the engine, the rear gearbox, the last part of the gearbox, steering wheel, fire extinguisher, and very nicely, if you can see that, double disc, completely holed. I didn't clean this part, they were exactly as mezzo-mix posted to me, as well as the mirrors, if you can see that properly. So it's very simple, but it's absolutely complete. It's a complete model to have a very nice reproduction of this mighty Porsche of the 70s, you know. So that's it. My tip is absolutely to run and take your copy, because it's a wonderful car. It's absolutely a must for any lovers of this of this vehicle. This is not a review that I'm making in purpose, because it is not a gift. I bought the model, so I just wanted to say my opinion about this great work made by Christian, and keep on with the good work. I will always support your stuff, and if you make subjects that I like, I will absolutely take them. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you in the next video.